All right, so today let's get started laying down. And a couple of options here. If you want to start to get into the hips, the groin a little bit, you are welcome to bring the soles of your feet together. So for some of us, this can feel really, really intense. Some blocks underneath the thighs can just give you a little bit of support. You could also just skip this variation if you're not feeling this first thing. So maybe you're more of a classic Shavasana or knees bent, feet wide, knees knocking into each other. So you can play around, kind of see what is feeling best in your body, and then snuggle the shoulder blades underneath you. Find a little bit of that bridge pose feeling in your upper body. And then arms by your side. Nice deep inhale through your nose. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. So we're just kind of triggering the brain, letting it know that we are on our mats. We're ready to pay attention to our bodies and to our breaths. So do that a few times, just letting any stress go as much as possible. And then when you feel ready, start to find that rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose and then also exhaling through your nose. Right away, just bringing your attention to that sound of your breath. So it becomes the most important thing. All of the other sounds happening around you or inside of your head are just drifting into the background. They're just ambient noise. Observe if you've started to create tension anywhere in your body. So maybe you're gripping a little bit in the inner thighs more than you need to. Soften there. Maybe the shoulders are creeping up around your ears. So again, soften there. And it looks like, welcome, Marianne. Okay, so just a couple more moments here. Really enjoy these quiet moments at the beginning of practice. It's kind of just a nice way to shift gears before we start to move. Good. So nice deep inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And if you're in this Supta Baddha Konasana, so our butterfly legs on the floor, just use your hands to help draw your knees in. We're all going to meet there. Give the knees a squeeze into your chest, rock a little bit from side to side. And then begin to extend your legs to straight on the mat. And then reach your arms up overhead. So imagine that you're doing an extended mountain pose here. So your toes are pointing up towards the ceiling. It is as though you're standing on your feet, even though we're laying down. Shoulders are stacking over your hips are stacking over your ankles. And of course, it's a little easier to find that symmetry, perhaps laying down like this. We have this nice support underneath us with the floor. We're going to take this into a little lateral stretch. So you're going to bring your left fingertips to your right wrist, pull up on that side, get a little longer. And then you're going to keep both hip plates pressing down underneath you, but just inchworm your upper body off to the left and then walk your feet off to the left. So you're making this half moon shape, this C shape. Doesn't have to be very deep. You should really start to feel this on that lower right side. I think it feels delicious. If it feels super intense, maybe you're in a little too deep. If you want a little more sensation here, you could take that right ankle, cross it over your left ankle. And then again, just find that rhythm of your breath, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Send your exhale to that lower right waist. Just visualize it creating some space. From here, we uncross that right ankle. If you took that variation, just wiggle your feet back to center and then wiggle your upper body back to center. Release. So find your extended mountain pose laying down again. And then let's point forward through our toes. This one always feels really good. So a nice little stretch on the tops of the feet. And then toes point back up towards the ceiling. Right fingertips come to your left wrist. So getting really tall on that side. And then inchworm your upper body off to the right. Legs come off to the right. How does this side feel different? Again, breathe down into this lower left hip. Maybe take your left ankle over your right. That just might shift where you're feeling things. And then breath smooth and steady. In addition to your hip plates pressing down, you should feel both shoulder blades pressing down on the mat. All right. Uncross left ankle if you took that variation. And then just bring your legs back to center. Upper body comes back to center. And then just moving with the breath as you exhale, point your toes. Inhale, flex. Good. Exhale, point. Inhale, flex. One more full round like that. Exhale, point your toes. Inhale, flex your feet. And then again, just give yourself a little hug here. Rock from side to side. Assuming that your lower back, your entire back really feels okay, you can start to just do some rolls, maybe do 3 or 4 of these. Just massaging out the spine, which can feel really nice. If that's not in the cards for you today, you're simply rolling to one side or the other. We're all going to meet in our tabletop position. We're going to move into some cat-cow here. So shoulders over your wrists, hips over your knees as you inhale, arch into your lumbar, chest comes forward through the gates of your shoulders. Exhale, keep the arms straight as you round in. Inhaling, arching, shins pressed down into the mat. Good, exhale, chin towards chest, lengthening the back of the neck. And then close your eyes here if they're not already. Just continue to move with your breath, finding some vinyasa. And for a lot of us, it's when we start moving, when we start connecting in these different poses with the breath. We find that nice little sweet spot. It's a little easier to quiet the mind for some of us. Notice if that's true for you. All right, so on your next inhale, come back to a neutral spine. You're neither arching nor rounding. Curl your left toes under. Good, and then activate that leg, press back so that leg is in Tadasana. It's as though you're standing on the foot. We're just in a different position. Really root down into your right hand, especially the inner edge of that foot. Start to roll to the inner edge of your left foot. And then we're going to come into our modified Vashistasana. So you're getting length through this lower right side. Your shoulders are stacking on top of each other. Seal into the back edge of your left foot, even as you press to the inner edge of your right foot. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other. Maybe challenge your balance. Bring your gaze up to that left thumb. And then if you want to go a little further here, firm down into that right shin. Flex that left foot a lot and then see if you can lift that leg. You might fall out, no big deal. We're not too far from the floor here. Finally, maybe take your top arm up overhead. Good, release that left foot down. Release your right hand down, couple rounds of your cat-cow. Just letting that go. And we're going to try that on the second side. So make sure that you have that nice alignment, especially shoulders over wrists. You can pull your lower belly in and up a little bit here. And then you're going to stretch your right toes back. So curl those toes under. That leg is really active. Hold on to all of that as you start to roll to the inner edge of the foot. And then that weight shifts into the left hand. You start to extend your right arm up. Feel your lower belly pull in and up, kind of elongate your tailbone. And then see if you can lengthen that left side of your waist, so the side closest to the mat. All right, so stay here. This is the pose. If you want, flex the right foot a lot. I find that that helps. And then you're lifting from the inseam of that leg. Ooh. Maybe reach that right arm up and over. All of these little micro movements happening to keep you balanced. This is not easy. Good, release right foot down, unwind, and then again, just release that with a few rounds of your cat and cow. Good. From here, walk your hands forward a couple of inches. You're going to curl both toes under this time. Let's just hover our knees up off the mat. An inch or two, few breaths here, kind of starting to fire up the core. Keep that breath smooth and steady. It's going to actually also be a really nice stretch on the toes. All right, here we go. As you exhale, reach your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Good. And then as you pull back into your first downward dog, take a moment, pedal back and forth between the feet. Just find any movement that feels good, maybe shifting hips to one side, then the other. Sometimes I like to flip to the tops of my feet here. Just stretch out, again, the front of the foot, which can feel really nice. So do all the things that feel good for you right now, and then eventually start to find that place of stillness. Listening to your breath. Gazing between your feet, which are hips distance apart. Peek between your hands. Make sure that they're about shoulders distance apart. If you were tighter in your shoulders, you turn your hands out slightly. All right, nice and easy from here. We start to walk our feet forward. Take your time, take tiny little steps. And then as you get here, make sure that the weight is evenly distributed on your feet. Let's bring our hands to our shins. Inhale, lengthen, gaze forward. Exhale, fold in. Maybe with a bend in your knees. This first Uttanasana is always intense. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhaling, folding in. Good, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. And then press down into your feet. Stretch your arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your hearts. Let's move into some Ardha Surya Namaskaras, half sun salutes, just to start to connect breath, engage everything, find some space in the body. As we inhale, we reach up. As we exhale, we hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Pressing down, rising up. As you exhale, hands come together at heart center. Inhale, stretching up, Utthita Hastasana into Dandasana, extended mountain. Exhale into Uttanasana, a deep forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, a half forward fold. Back into Uttanasana. Press down, we rise back up. Extended mountain. Exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do two more. Just moving with your breath. I'm not going to cue you. You can follow with me or close your eyes. Just move at your own pace. There is no rush. Take your time with these. Let them feel really good. Just notice how things are feeling in your body. If you're like me, these always are like a little dopamine hit. They just make me happy. They're simple. But the simple things are the best. And when you're done with your second round, you can just pause, palms together at your heart, maybe close your eyes here. With your eyes closed, put your brain down on your feet and just notice all of the little subtle movements that are happening to keep you upright. Good, we're gonna blink our eyes open, release our hands. We're gonna come into a preliminary triangle pose here. I'm probably gonna visit this pose in a few different variations today. Block can be really nice here if you have one. If not, there's other ways, but go ahead and use the block if you have one. In the center of your mat, step nice and wide. And you can just place that block behind your right ankle. So we start with the edges of the feet parallel with the edges of the mat. From deep within this right hip socket, turn that leg out to 90 degrees. We're going to keep this front leg straight. If you know that you're hyper mobile in your joints, you're going to want to keep a little micro bend in that left knee. We're going to turn right knee. We're going to turn the left foot in, toes in. So our legs are doing different things. We're getting external rotation here. This back leg is neutral. You're going to square your torso to the long edge of your mat. Inhale, arms will reach up. Okay, so think that modified Vashistasana pose. Find all that length through the right side. Reach, 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 reach. If you don't have a block, your hand can come to your thigh or your shin. Just don't put that hand on your knee. Block is really nice here. Sometimes it's fun to practice the highest height. It helps you to find this space, which can be really nice. So the inseam of this right leg is directing to the inner edge of this, I keep doing this wrong, right leg to left leg. I don't have my opposite talking on today yet. It must be a Monday. And a lot of times we don't do this triangle pose quite so early. So it doesn't need to feel like your deepest. Maybe back out a little bit. All right, from here you can grab your block as you inhale, rise up. Parallel your feet. Block goes behind that left foot. From deep within this left hip socket, find that external rotation. So you're pressing to the inner edge of the left foot. Then turn these right toes in a lot. We are heel to arch here. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, think side plank pose in that left side. Reach, reach, reach. Hand on thigh, shin, block. Fingertips might be on the floor if you're a little more flexible. Don't be too concerned about what this looks like. Don't think that there is this end goal. Props are amazing. Adjustments are amazing. Feel the shoulder blades stacking on top of each other. In this triangle pose, you can be looking down, you can be looking forward, you can look up. A lot of it just depends on how the neck is feeling on any given day. You don't want to drop your head, and then you also don't want to overlift. So you're keeping the head nice and long. All right. So from here, you can grab the block again. Inhale, come on up, parallel your feet, release your hands, and then step your feet together. And then we're going to come to the top of the mat. You can just put the block off to the side if you're using that. We're going to do some full sun salutes here just to create a little more heat in the body. Just a few of these. As you inhale, arms reach out and up. We'll break down this first one. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, bend your knees a lot. Plant your palms, right foot back, then left. Few breaths in our plank pose. Use the legs a lot more than you think that you can. See if you can get those shoulder blades to squeeze in towards each other. Lower belly pulls in and up. Reach back through your heels. Stretch forward through your sternum. Gaze is an inch or two in front of your fingertips. All right. As you exhale, shift forward on your toes. Let your knees fall where they are. So notice that my hips are way ahead of my knees. As we exhale, we lower to halfway, maybe not all the way there. Elbows are squeezing in, shoulder heads are lifting, and then come onto your belly. Tops of the feet press. Moving with the breath. Inhale, chest extends forward and up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. Good, exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Bhujangasana, low cobra. Holding here, breath smooth and steady. As you roll to the outer edges of your feet, your inner thighs are rolling up towards the ceiling. So legs again, neutral. And then from here, let's press to our tabletop, curl toes under, downward facing dog. Here we are again. Second one. How does it feel? Already starting to loosen up a little bit, hopefully. Again, just make any little adjustments that you need to. Feet, hips distance apart, arms, shoulders distance apart, back of the neck lengthening, and then be in that place of stillness, listening to your breath. All right, as we inhale, little bend in the knees, come to your tippy toes. As you exhale, you can walk forward, you can step right and left, you can hop both feet forward, however you want to get there. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hinge, forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right. Full plank this time if you're ready. So as you exhale, shift forward, elbows bend to the halfway point, hover, pause onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra. If you're ready for an up dog, drag hands back a lot, elbows over your wrists. Next inhale, bring the arms to straight, press into the tops of the feet, shins, knees, thighs are lifting up, shoulder heads press back. As you exhale, roll over your toes to downward dog from your up dog. And then of course, if you're in your Bhujangasana, you can press up to that tabletop and then to downward dog. So lots of ways that we can modify these sun salutes, especially that little vinyasa back bend portion. Always know that you can do that. All right, we're going to inhale a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes, end of the exhale, hop through, step left and right, walk forward. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Okay, inhale, reach. As you exhale, hinge, forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left. Same exhale, you're lowering chaturanga. This time, maybe you come into your up dog from your chaturanga, or you can lower down. As we exhale, we make our way back to downward facing dog. Nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. We're going to inhale, lift our right leg up. Just keep the hips nice and even. Exhale, shift shoulders over wrists, curl knee into nose. Good. Inhale, stretch back, three-legged dog. Exhale, shift forward, climb that right knee towards your upper right arm. Inhale, stretch back. Good. Exhale, shift forward, and then take the twists. So super hard. We're going to actually extend that right leg out to the side. Then you're going to roll to the inner edge of your left foot. And we're going to come into our fallen triangle pose. So you start to open up, little like Vashistasana. You can press into the back edge of that left foot. Good. Maybe bring your gaze up. As you exhale, unwind. So spin onto those left toes. Bring knee to nose. All right. And then we're going to step that right foot through. Heel toe that right foot to the left twice. Spin into the back edge of your left foot. Inhale. Windmill your arms up and over. Virabhadrasana 2. Good. Let's inhale. Straighten that front leg. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale. Back in. Good. Inhale. And then exhale. So legs stay like this. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Take an exhale, sink in nice and deep, sealing to the back edge of your left foot. And then pressing to the inner edge of your right foot. Inhale, start to straighten that leg. So we are in our reverse triangle pose. Good. Feel how long this right side is. Again, we make our way back in to our triangle pose. So find that block. Let's get into this top shoulder. So lean that arm back. Do the thumbs down sign. So your palm is spinning behind you. And then bend that elbow so hand can press to the small of your back. Or you can reach around and grab the inside of your right thigh. You're just looking for some leverage to lean this left shoulder back. And again, gaze can be down, forward, up, just keeping cervical spine stacking on top of the thoracic spine. We're going to move into our Artichandrasana, so another version of our triangle pose. Couple of options here. If you're a little newer to this pose, you're going to take your left hand to your left hip. Otherwise, stay in the wrap, challenge yourself a little bit. Keep the right side of the waist this long. Keep spinning those right ribs up. Just bring your gaze down. Bend your right knee. If you've got your block, walk that forward about a foot. And then again, your choice. If you're a little newer, step this back foot in. Otherwise, if you've been doing this a while, just see if you can start to lift from the inseam of that left leg, coming in to your version of Artichandrasana, half moon pose. And do you want shoulder over wrist? So make any little adjustments that you need to. Flex that left foot a lot. Sometimes here we overlift the leg, no need. And you should also be able to look back and just see your toes. Be forewarned that as you look back, sometimes you fall out of the pose. No big deal. Okay, so free the arm if you haven't already. Couple good breaths here. Feel those shoulder blades stack. Have a fun, beautiful pose. Okay, so nice and easy. We're going to transition back to our triangle pose. So just adjust everything. Find a beat there. Good. And then we're going to exhale, unwind, and then spin onto your left toes. So we're just going to take a little forward fold here. So you're drawing your right hip back, left hip forward. We've been doing externals. This is a neutral pose. You're going to feel this in that outer right glute, hamstring. All right. Start to bend that right knee. You might need to take that left foot back a little bit. Palms plant. Keep your hips this low. Step back to your plank pose. From here, you pull back downward facing dog, or you move with your breath through a Chaturanga Vinyasa, whatever that looks like for you. Couple of breaths when you get to your downward facing dog. Make any little adjustments that you need to. And then find that place of stillness. All right, here we go. Inhale, left leg lifts. Hips stay even. You don't need to overlift here. Exhale, chin to chest, shoulders over wrist. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale, shift forward. Climb that left knee as high onto that upper left arm as you can. Inhale, pull back. Good. Exhale, find the twist. So again, kind of lifting that knee and then extend that leg out. Place that foot on the floor. And then you roll to the inner edge of that right foot. Hips are kind of releasing down. Find that place where shoulder blades are stacking. Took me a minute to find it. So this is our fallen triangle pose. You can see this is the pose, just in a different configuration. Nice little arm balance pose as well. Maybe take that top arm up and over. Good, and then start to roll back onto those left toes. Bring this left knee into your chest. Step that foot through. Heel toe it to the right. Spin into the back edge of that right foot. And then inhale, Windmill arms up and over. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Press to the inner edge of that left foot to straighten the leg. Exhale, sink back in. Beautiful work. Inhale, straightening. And exhale, sinking in here. Okay, inhale, find your reverse warrior. Take an exhale. And then inhale, press to the inner edge of the left foot. So feel all of this length here. Hold on to that as you start to hinge at that left hip crease. Making your way into your second triangle pose on the left side. Again, block can be really nice. Shoulder blades stack on top of each other. Press to the inner edge of your left foot as you seal into the back edge of your right foot. Breath smooth and steady. Maybe close your eyes this side for a few breaths. All right, so lean that right arm back. Do the thumbs down. So you're spinning that palm to face behind you, bend the elbow, grab a piece of shirt, press the back of your hand into your spine. Maybe you can bring your fingertips to the inside of that left thigh. You're just looking for leverage to stretch out that right shoulder. Some days it can be pretty intense. Okay, so again, you can transition to our Artichandrasana in the wrap if you'd like to do so. I'm going to do the opposite this time. So if you're a little newer, again, that right hand on your hip. Keep left side of the body long and then gently twisting, but just bring your gaze down. Bend that left knee, walk your block forward. So again, if you're a little more advanced, maybe you start to come into the pose by lifting that back leg. If you're a little newer, you're going to want to step that foot in a little bit, and that's just going to make it a little easier to really fire up that lifted leg. And then again, make sure you're not overlifting. You should be able to look and see your toes, so we don't want to square our hips by dragging that leg back. And then finally, lift that top arm. Artichandrasana, half moon pose. I'm not sure why this is a half moon, but we're going to go with it. Okay, so as gracefully as you came in, you're going to try to come back to your triangle pose. Graceful is always relative when doing yoga, especially the transitions. All right, so from here, we unwind, you spin onto those right toes, and then you forward fold any amount here. So you're dragging this left hip back as right hip comes forward, hips are squaring. And you start to breathe into that left hamstring, left glute. This is pretty intense. All right, and then find a little bend in your left knee. You're probably gonna have to hop those right toes back. Plant your palms, keep your gaze forward, keep hips low as you step into your plank pose. Take an inhale here. And then your choice, as you exhale, you pull back downward facing dog. You do your Chaturanga Vinyasa, whatever that looks like in your body. And then we pull back here into our downward facing dog. Nice work. Let's just find a little twist in our dog. So you are going to walk your hands a little bit closer, maybe a lot closer, depending upon how tight your body is. All right. So keep pressing into your right hand, both feet, but you're going to take your left hand to the outside of your right ankle. And then you're going to start to spin to the right. So you're kind of looking up underneath that right arm. Feel the heels get heavy. You might even lift your toes up off the mat. Good. Let's release that left hand and then root into that left palm. Right hand comes to the outside of that left ankle. And then you're wrapping those right ribs to the left. Kind of looking up underneath that left arm. Melt your heels back as much as possible. Maybe again, lifting the toes up off the mat. Breath smooth and steady. All right, unwind here. Good, and then just walk back into a full downward facing dog. Couple of breaths. Maybe exhale the air out if you need to. It's always kind of a nice little palate cleanser. And then as we inhale, a little bend in the knees, come to the tippy toes. Peek where you're going, end of your exhale, step or hop. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do a little tree pose, balance pose. It's a little standing balance. We've done a couple of arm balances today. So begin to root into your left foot. Come up onto your right toes, keep the left hip squeezing in, open up that hip. So this is tree pose right here. You can just keep your toes on the floor. Maybe you lift that foot to the lower left leg. Maybe you can use your hand to help you snuggle that right foot into the upper left thigh. The only place we don't want the foot is on the knee. Helps to keep breathing in this pose. It helps to find a spot to gaze at in front of you, something that isn't moving, a little drishti. Palms come to heart center. Appreciate all of the little micro movements happening in that left foot to keep you upright. So this is not, there's a lot happening in this pose, even though it seems pretty static. Good. Stretch the arms up. I've sort of just been in love with this pose these days. So right fingertips, left wrist, pull up, get tall, and then start to let your tree fall. So you're doing that side bend. Doesn't have to be super deep. My standing foot is going crazy. Pull back up to center. And then as you exhale, you can release everything down. You're probably going to want to give the legs a little walk out. And we'll take that second side. So really root down into that right foot, outer hip squeezes in, lower belly is pulling in and up. Come up onto your left toes. Hold on to all of those actions. Find your tree pose on this side, which could look different. Again, the only place we don't want the foot is on the knee. Wherever you're at, standing leg, lifted leg are pressing against each other equally. Bring your palms to heart center. One side is always so much harder than the other. Maybe this is that side. No big deal. Don't get frustrated. It's just yoga. Okay, we stretch our arms up. Maybe you even bring your gaze up for a couple of breaths. Pretend that somebody's holding onto your wrists. It's helping you to get longer, helping to stabilize you. And then let's fall our tree. So left fingertips, right wrist, pull up. It's like what we did on the mat at the beginning of class. Just the standing version, the standing balancing version. So the much harder version. And of course, if you fall out of this pose, it's no big deal. Just scream timber and get back in. Whew. All right, make your way back up to center. And then we release everything down. All right, so let's find a little twist before we move to the floor and start to wind down here. So feet, hips distance apart. We're going to do our twisted chair pose. As you inhale, knees, bend arms, reach up, Utkatasana chair pose. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Good, exhale, lean forward, twist to the right, hook left elbow to the outside of that right thigh, and then vigorously press palms towards heart center. If that left hip likes to drag forward, imagine that your buns are up against a wall and you're just pressing your sit bones back into that wall. Can you lengthen through the left side of your waist here? And then maybe reach fingertips down and up. So spreading your arms. Good, as you exhale, unwind, fold in, pedal back and forth between your legs here. And then find a bend in your knees. Inhale, roll up to standing. Take an exhale. Inhale, knees bend, arms reach. Exhale, palms to heart center. Take an inhale here. Feel that length through the sides of your waist. And then exhale. Get in nice and deep. Hooking that right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. Trying to draw that right hip back a little bit. Vigorously pressing palms towards heart center. Use that leverage to help you spin open. And then if you would like to split your arms here, so right fingertips reach to the floor, left fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Breath smooth and steady. Try to fill up on the inhale. Good, exhale, unwind. Again, just fold in. You can bring your hands to the backs of your calves if that feels good. You can grab opposite elbows. Sometimes that can feel nice. Nod head, yes, no. Good, and then just release, hands, start to bend your knees. Good, and then let's come all the way onto our back. Let's do just a little bit of back bending here. Haven't done a lot of that today, so just a few bridge poses. So laying down, legs about hips distance apart, your ankles are landing underneath your knees, arms by your side. There's a natural curve in your lower back, directing your tailbone towards your heels. Hold on to that as you inhale, press into your feet, lift up, exhale, lower down. So let's just move like this a few times. And warming this up, inhale, lift hips. Exhale, release down. 3 more like this, inhaling, lifting. Exhaling, lowering down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So this time, let's inhale, lift. Hold here. So you can grab the outer edges of your mat, snuggle your shoulders underneath you. You can interlace your fingers underneath you, do that same thing. So as we do this, you start to feel as though the shoulder blades are feet pressing into the mat as well. So that's part of your base. We have 4 points pressing down. Beautiful pose to feel the depth and breadth of the breath. It's just I'm having a hard time connecting the words with the brain today. It happens. Good, let's take one more deep inhale. Exhale, slowly roll down. Just take a couple breaths here, and then we're going to come back up. For the second round, let's do our robot arms. So Pressing into the upper arm, palms face in towards each other. And even here, before we come up, you can try to snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you. Good. On your inhale, press into your feet, lift up. Make any little adjustments that you need to in your upper body. Notice if you're rolling to the outer edges of your feet. It's very common in this pose. So the knees start to wing out. Press a little more to the inner edge. Think Tadasana pose, mountain pose in your feet. Good. You can release your arms by your side here. Again, maybe interlace your fingers underneath you. Grab the edges of your mat. Couple more breaths. Kind of a nice long hold in this bridge pose. Good. Exhale. Release down. All right. From here, we're going to give the knees a little squeeze into the chest. Rock and roll side to side. And then let's roll up to seated. We're going to come into our Sukhasana. So we're going to cross our right shin in front of our left shin. We're going to do a little hip stretch here. If you are tighter, if it's hard for you to forward fold and keep your spine upright, or if you're sitting with your knees up, grabbing a blanket or two to sit on is going to be very helpful. Conversely, if you're a little more open in the hips and you can stack your shins on top of each other, this is called fire leg pose. You're welcome to do that. So wherever you're at, you can flex this right foot, root into your sit bones, inhale, arms stretch up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Any amount. You get to rest your forehead on a block here. You might be super upright and still feeling a really intense stretch in that outer right side. That counts. You're doing the pose right if that's you. We're all built a little different. So poses look really different in everybody's body. If you haven't already, consciously start to shift your breath, slow it down. Let the inhale get deeper and let the exhale get deeper. We're going to find a little twist here. So you're just going to walk your hands off to the right. Try to keep anchoring down into that left sit bone. And then you can think downward facing dog arms here. So spread fingers, press. Use that, leverage that base to help you wrap these left ribs to the right. Walk back to center. And then slowly roll up on an inhale. And we take the second side. So extend legs to straight. Give them a little shake. And then recross left shin in front of right. Unless you want to stack the shins. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, fold in. Hands can be on blocks. Head can be resting on a block. Feeling the sensation in this outer left hip. How is this side different than the other side? And then finding your twist to walk your hands off to the left. Wrapping right ribs towards that left thigh. Little twist here. Should feel good. Good. Walk back to center. Inhale, roll up. Maybe grab a strap and release the legs here. Give them a shake. And then we're going to come into our Dandasana, seated staff pose. So shoulders are landing over your hips, pressing into your sit bones. Think Tadasana feet. So it's as though you're standing on your feet. We're going to inhale, stretch the arms up. Exhale, hinge forward. Take a forward fold here. So if you're a little tighter, you're going to take the strap around your feet. Otherwise, you might be able to grab the edges of your feet. Perhaps your hands are just resting on your thighs or shins. All good places to be. Try to keep your spine nice and long. So resisting the urge, we can come in a little deeper when we round in. Think a little back bend. So you might have to come out, but you're going to get a different kind of a stretch. For those who are super flexible with long arms, you could always use a block at the bottoms of your feet. That's kind of nice. It helps to keep them in flexion. All right, so let's inhale, roll up to seated. So one final little version of a seated triangle, twisting triangle pose here. So bring your legs, about hips distance apart, maybe even a little wider. Okay, so you're rooting into your sit bones. We're gonna inhale, lift our left arm up. And then as you exhale, hinge forward, you're gonna grab the outer edge of that right foot. If that's not happening, you're taking your strap and holding on. Okay, so start to spin the left ribs to the right, reach your right arm out, and then maybe start to lift that left leg up. So if you are holding a strap, your left elbow is going to bend. Let me just kind of change my angle here so you can see where we're at. If you're on the outer edge, it's more like a classic twisting triangle pose. You might be gazing out over that right thumb. Good, deep inhale. And then exhale. Just release down, and we'll take that to the second side. So again, legs about hips distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. Inhale, reach the right arm up. And then exhale, hinge forward, grab the outer edge of that left foot potentially, or again, use your strap. Okay, and then start to reach your left fingertips back. You might be gazing there. Keeping this right foot in Tadasana, toes pointing up towards the ceiling. Maybe you start to lift your left leg for a few breaths, kind of putting it all together. Couple more good breaths here. As you exhale, release down, unwind, and let's give the knees a squeeze into the chest here. And we're going to make our way into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So whatever that looks like for you, you can always stay seated if you prefer that, a little quiet meditation. Otherwise, roll onto your back. If there's tenderness in your lower back, slide something under your knees or keep them bent. Otherwise, classic Shavasana here. Feel those shoulder blades snuggle underneath you. And then just soak up these final moments. So again, just as we started class with a little stillness, we end class with a little stillness. It's like these bookends. And they help us to transition into the rest of our day. They help us to assimilate all of the work that we've just done. Let your next inhale be deeper. And open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Wiggle fingers, toes, stretch out. And staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other. And use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And check in here. Just pause and notice how you feel physically, how the breath is different, how the headspace has shifted. And send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Just promise yourself that you're going to carry this good feeling with you into the rest of the day ahead. Bring your palms together at your heart and bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you.